Hi everyone, and welcome to A Moment with Hales. We are going to be doing a seed starting part 2, just go through some tips and tricks with you guys to get some information if you are wanting to start some seedlings this spring. So first of all, I wanted to say in my last episode, I talked about these trays. I do not like trays. I have never done trays. This was the first year I decided to do trays. I am not pro tray. I usually do individuals like this, or I'll do pots like this. This is not for me. So I'm gonna show you how to repot some seedlings as they're already getting too big for this tray. So if you get to a point where your seedlings need to be repotted out of the tray, don't fret, it is okay. And I actually do this usually 3 or 4 times. That probably means I'm starting my seedlings too soon, but I usually do it a couple times before I get them out into the garden beds. And I'm going to be going back to one of my favorite methods that I didn't do this year, but I think this is my favorite after trying a variety of ways to start seeds. Just repurposed fruit containers that you get from the grocery store. I like these because it gives the plant room to grow. It also has a natural draining system at the bottom. You can use a humidity dome when you first start the seedlings if you want to, and it gives them room to grow. So I'm gonna put 2 lettuces in here because that's gonna give them plenty of space until I want to transplant them this spring. All right, so I've got 2 tiny little lettuce seedlings here, itty bitty, that I got out of the tray, and I'm gonna show you my method for replanting them. So this container, I'm gonna put 2 lettuce seedlings in it, and I have one here, okay, and one over there. How I repot them is I lay the plants on their side, just like this. I push down the stem and the root system into the dirt and then pack the dirt around it. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. You can see the stem on it. I'm gonna gently push the root system or stem down. This one's so little. And just pack it around the lettuce so it's planted deeply enough to get the stem system updated and strong and the root system going as well. And I will leave both of these lettuces in here probably until the spring, well, until the next 4 weeks once I get them out in the garden. And I just want to show you guys my company out here as I'm working in my garden. Ignore the mess, but you see my little flock. They like to be out when I'm out. Another recommendation if you are doing seedlings is to plant a couple extra just in case the seedlings don't germinate. I like to plant probably 2 or 3 extra plants of each, whether it's cucumber, watermelon, lettuce, whatever. So I know I have a few other options to choose from if something does happen to a seedling and it doesn't make it. And if you have extras, they're a fun gift to give too around springtime. Like, who doesn't want to get a tomato or a cucumber plant for their garden? It's super fun to be able to give those away to people too. This was also a favored method for me previously. I just repurposed a plastic container that had bath tea in it or bath salts, and my husband drilled holes in the bottom, if you can see it. This is a cucumber plant. Again, these trays I got are just way too small for these types of plants. So I'm gonna go ahead and replant the cucumber plant in here, and this will probably be good until the next 4 weeks once I get it out. So I'm gonna do the same method here. I'm gonna lay it on its side, and I'm going to gently push the root system and stem into the dirt, and I'll probably add some more dirt in here as well. And I've got my cucumber plant in here. You can see it's not pointing out the top. It's going to give itself a strong stem and root system since it's deeper in the dirt as it continues to grow. I also want to show you guys just these root systems already, how established they are in such a tiny little cucumber plant. I just think it's so cool. And as I'm repotting these cucumber plants, I am taking them apart because I did 2 seedlings in 1 tray. So I have 2 individual cucumber plants. All right, so I've got a lot of my cucumbers, and this is some spinach too, and cucumbers in a bunch of individual pots and also in the larger seeding trays as well. I also want to give a shout out to cucumber seedlings. These are 3 little seedlings here. And I'm telling you guys right now, they smell like cucumbers. They smell like summer, they smell like cucumbers. It's wild that even at this size, it smells like a cucumber plant. It's crazy. And I just realized I'm out of seed starting mix, so I'm gonna have to go to the store. There's nothing more annoying than that. So make sure you have all your supplies before you get started. That is another piece of advice from me to you. Okay, restocked my dirt. Another seed starting tip I have for you guys is to label everything. You might think you're gonna remember where you put what, but once you repot things so many times in different containers, it's really hard to keep track. That's another reason why I like these too, is you can just write directly on them what's in them, but make sure you do have a labeling system because it's gonna get more confusing than you think it's going to. I may or may not have been really confused about certain plants or planted the wrong thing in the wrong place many times. Another thing you need to consider when starting your garden is what type of seeds do you want to use. I personally look for heirloom seeds. These are seeds that have not been genetically modified, and you can regrow plants from the actual seeds from the plant themselves. So you can wait until they fully bolt or take from the fruit itself and use the seeds to plant your garden next summer. That was important to me because I wanted to do something that was sustainable in a way for our food. Obviously, I still go to the grocery store, but I liked the idea of being able to have plants that are going to provide for food for the future. Another tip that I would recommend is getting a planner. I have not done a garden planner until this year, and I hope it's gonna save me a lot of headache. What I have done in it is I set the last frost date in it for myself. I also listed out various plants that I should be seeding at certain times. So this is my March list here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mark the day that I actually plant the seeds so I can count back how many weeks it's been. For example, watermelon is something that we love growing, well, I love growing, and we just can't seem to get it right for when we're supposed to pick it every time. If I actually had the exact date that I planted the seedling, I could count back the amount of weeks, and that's gonna give me guidance to when the plant is actually ready to harvest. This, I'm hoping, will help me make better decisions in the gardening season when it can feel overwhelming because you have plants sprouting up, it's hot outside, you're trying to keep your garden going, get rid of bugs, all the things. So it's nice to be able to have a timeline to look back to have confidence when it comes to picking your fruit. Well, friends, I hope this gave you some tips and tricks as you're getting your seedlings started for seedling springtime season. If you would like to see any more gardening information or a possible conspiracy theory or two, or listening to my episodes, my podcast, Your Morning Start, to get your day started with a biblical perspective, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode as we're getting into the exciting spring gardening season. I'll be talking to you soon.